Welcome back, all you people up to something, game changers and all that fun stuff. People that are just out there to make a difference and seeking that opportunity. This is the Maturity Project. I'm your host, Chad Everett Broshears. Our conversation today is going to be about life happening to us because it happens all the damn time. One of the things that I notice when you get online is that you get a lot of people that just talk about something specific and make a very specialized direction with something. And you have to force yourself into that frame of thinking in order for it to work, but life continues to happen. It may get you to be distracted by something or whatever, and you just get on to some other subject that you need to put your focus someplace else that's more immediate in your needs. So as you guys know, that there's 8 areas of maturity. If you've been following my channel, if not, I do have quite a few videos on this on YouTube, so it's worth looking into. I am broadcasting on YouTube as well as in other social media right now. So with that, my maturity project, it's your maturity project at gmail.com is the email if you want to get a starter going as far as like the 8 areas of maturity, what to do with that, and how to get these things really working for you. So, all right, first off, let's just talk about life happening to you. That shit happens all the time. Life happens. You're like, you know what? I'm running low on funds, but because it's this more of the common thing, people are just struggling financially, especially right now. It's pretty heavy and pretty challenging for a lot of people. But you get people that are running low on funds, and you've got this not the first time in life it's happened, and you're just gonna, you're trying to figure it out, and you're pretty much one catastrophe away from really sinking into a pretty undesirable place, far beyond where you're at. There's the thing is that most of the time what we do is we just try to avoid that. We try not to think about it. We think that we've survived it once, it's not coming back, things like that. Financial maturity is a part of that, but it's not the only thing. Financial maturity is in you obviously need to be mature to handle money issues, but there's also how do you generate the money, how do you spend it, so the business side of it. Who do you surround yourself with, and how do you surround yourself, with other people, community aspects of it? Are you taking good care of your body or not? Are you just kicking it down, the can down the road? So later on in life, you get health issues because you neglected your health right now while you're making money. Could be that you are, just not tending to your sexual needs or the sexuality aspects of maturity. And, you don't really feel like you have a whole lot of, you don't really feel like you're working on a legacy. You're not doing much to impact the world. You're just kind of stuck with whatever you're stuck with. And then the final part of that obviously is going to be the intelligence side of it. Who's actually doing what are they learning, and how are they doing these things? So life's happening. It's going to happen. There's ups and downs. There's the roller coaster of it all. The interesting thing about it is that people think that it's just the downs and the roller coaster that actually derails people or distracts them from being able to, achieve their goals or to just live a fulfilled life. It's actually the ups are also just as detrimental. The thing is that most people tell you should celebrate at those times versus realize, hey, I'm just on a high right now. The resources that I have availability to at the moment with the people that are involved, or, whatever it might be, you making money, that all might actually just, you just kind of get this idea that it's always going to be there. Times are good. It's not a very adaptive to the market mindset, where you may have to pivot or redevelop your company into something else. But it gets really steadily focused on just the, things are good now. So now when I mean the market, I'm not just saying the financial market or the business market. I mean also in the friendships, everything when it comes to your, it's a maturity market. You just feel like those resources will regularly be there, not necessarily needing a whole lot of attention or nurturing. Every one of these areas in yourself need to be nurtured the same as anything else, right? Like, so if you have a friend, you don't ever see this friend, you never talk to this friend, and you don't really consider yourself best friends, the kind that seem to be, in a time capsule. I haven't seen you in 10 years. We're best friends again. Not those people. Those are actually very uncommon in our life anyway. The more common is going to be the people that you're friends with, but then they disappear or whatever happens. You don't see them for a while. When you see them again, it's like you're now seeing a stranger. So yeah, that's all areas of our maturity require that we address with that nurturing care, that awareness is really awareness in the areas actually is more of how you nurture those areas. Because you're aware that it's there, and then you can do something with it. If you decide to neglect it, you can directly get the experience of what it's like to neglect that area of maturity and see what it does to the other areas as it affects you and stands out. So nurturing is an incredibly beneficial thing. So when life's happening, you're not just riding the roller coaster of life happening, you're also experiencing things along the way as far as the good, the bad, and you don't get overly fixated in one particular direction. So as we get into that life happening thing, we can start looking at each thing that has effect and how effective things are and how ineffective they are. So you get into assessing the situation to say, okay, well, if I want to lose 5 pounds, by what timeline? And you can put that as a goal associated with your daily behavior in other areas that can be complementary towards it. It's not just, okay, did you eat so many calories? It's also what kind of stress were you under? Those kind of things also play a role in your body's weight management and or whether you lose or put on weight. So, and that can be through cortisol, things like that. Lacking stress, lack of recovery, not getting enough parasympathetic system time for recovery, that kind of stuff. So that's all there when you're dealing with the maturity aspects and losing weight. It's not alone. It's also, if you want to lose weight and you want to do it in a healthy way, you're typically going to spend more money per food item than you would if you did not go that route because of the preservatives and the cheap value and accessibility of overly processed foods. So, it continues to span out. It's not just lose 5 pounds if you want to be really successful at it. Also, what is your purpose for doing it? That goes to the spirituality aspect of it. But if you were to really link what your goal about losing 5 pounds is, if it's about your health and that you can optimize your energy and your ability to function because you have a big goal, like you want to get out and start a charity or something that you want to do that actually impacts humanity, which is more of the purpose drive, then the fact that you can hitch this particular goal to that bigger goal. So you losing 5 pounds is contributory for your health and well-being, and you can actually put that definition to it to give you more motivation to stay on track with that 5 pound loss than it is to just be nice to lose the 5 pounds. Maybe see a little less of the love handles or the muffin top or something, or see that your face is a little more lean. Whatever it is that's the initial superficial driver, you can add to it by putting these categories into play. What are you learning about your nutritional needs and what it takes to maintain and or to completely just, not to have a regression to the behavior. So learning, as part of the maturity aspects, that's cognitive or intelligence, you're learning something about the contribution of losing a few pounds to it actually affecting your health and well-being. It actually, statistically, you can look into this. There's a certain point in time, if you carry a specific amount of weight where your diet, you were actually described as overweight medically, you actually increase your risks of cancer as well and other conditions, including comorbidities where you have more than one condition at a single time. It's worth looking into. If you want to lose more than 5 pounds, it's all the same. Once you establish the functions and the strategy for losing 5 pounds, you can apply that to a lot of other areas. It's not just one. It's a formula that works consistently. The variables are just different. Apologize about scratching my nose there. Okay. So what do you do? What's the proven methods to actually overcome this? One is, I'm a huge advocate for journaling. So just commit to journal for yourself. So, and every morning when you set an alarm to wake up slightly earlier than you would actually normally would wake up, right? It's something now for me, as an example, waking up at 3 a.m. is my standard, work week type of schedule. When I'm in that, I'm not going to wake up any earlier than that. Really, I don't need to necessarily, because I'll eventually cut out all of my recovery sleep that I need. And it's not going to be effective for my long-term well-being. But waking up at my time is already a set time that I had set previously and established that as a function to break the patterns that I am familiar with doing that have been less than successful behaviors. So I changed that and I worked my way to 3 a.m. in increments because I adjusted, because I was like, hey, a little bit earlier would be fine. I can see that that would work a little bit earlier, or wake up one day at 3. And then I realized, hey, that actually really was, I have a lot of opportunity ahead of me when I did it that way. So set an alarm. If you're used to getting up at 7 a.m. because you have to be at work at a certain time, and that's how much time you need between the time you wake up and the time that you show up to work, that's how much you need on average in order for you to be able to, get the things done necessary and not have to rush, be late, that kind of thing. Well, set it a little bit earlier. Give yourself a 30-minute window that's a little bit more, so that you can prep your day a little bit differently. Nothing changes if nothing changes, right? So you start looking at the things that do make change, and those are going to be the smaller functions, the smaller behaviors that actually do make a greater attribute, a better outcome to that as an attribute for it. So if it's I wake up at 7 a.m., we'll wake up at 6:30 a.m. So get ready to journal. The first thing that I do when I get up is I make my bed. I'll get up, I'll make my bed, and after I make my bed, you typically go to the refrigerator. I'll get, whatever, my coffee, whatever, my cold brew, and then I'm off to the bathroom to get my morning rituals taken care of, and then on my way to, pursuing the things that I need to do for that day. So journal. So with what I do, again, make your bed, and then from there, get ready to journal. What you want to do is, and I will send you an email on this, or the return, I will send you documents on, the starter positions for the maturity project. So they give you the 8 different areas of maturity, and to start qualifying those for your own life and where you are, so you know what to attribute for your growth, instead of just attributing to one aspect of your well-being or your existence. So you got 8 different areas. You can self-qualify them. Quickly, though, I've gone over these multiple times, but you'll get this in the email. It is 1's physical maturity, 2's community, 3 is cognitive and intelligence, 4 is emotions, 5 finance, 6 business, 7 sexuality, and 8 spirituality or purpose. So when you can qualify all 8 of those areas in the morning, you can start looking at 1% more than yesterday by qualifying that, and then looking at what that percentage value is, 1% from whatever I did yesterday, to keep congruent, see what you did yesterday, unless it's time to change the pattern because you've either realized there's someplace else that needs the attention in that particular category, or you kind of peaked out on that and now you have to shift into something else that's in that category in order to continue to be successful. Examples of that is like the physical body. When you write down for that day, where are you with your physical fitness? If you don't go to the gym at all, then what's your commitment to yourself for your physical body at that point? Again, physical is not just about exercise. Exercise is an aspect of it. It's what you do with your body overall, how you treat it, so that the thing that you're living in right now, tomorrow, is as healthy as you can make that thing. And then the day after that, then the year after that, and the decade after that, is just the continuation of doing what you can to make sure that you're keeping yourself physically well. You're maturing yourself physically. That also includes activities. You want to be better at golf, you train for golf. You don't train for football. Don't mix the conditioning, because you'll get mixed outcomes that do not get you your optimal performance. So physical, community. Have you talked to a lot of your friends lately? Do you do anything in the community? When you're at the grocery store, do you attempt to connect with somebody else, even if it's just through a quick little, hey, good morning, good afternoon, more so than what you would do any other time? It's reaching out and connecting with other people. If you do that, or let's say, if you go to church, okay, well, do you go to church every single week? And then inside of every day, what are you doing that is contributory to your community, that is the church going community? It's looking at those things that start assessing your maturity in community, so that you can make a larger impact for yourself and for others. Now, maturity for community it's how do you create healthy relationships? Those kind of things come along later on. It's a little bit more dynamic and something better for a specific relationship course, and that not just be intimate relationships of sexual partners, but also intimate relationships with people of business. Intimacy is connection, by the way. It's not just saying, hey, go, do what people typically default intimacy to be. Connecting with other people in a way that is profound enough they care, they know, they like, and they trust you. There's a lot of benefits when it comes to actually connecting with people intimately in a community setting. It just means you make them feel incredibly important and you're very connected to them. So community is one of those. You just write out whatever. If you haven't your circle of friends and people that you interact with is really shrunk down for whatever reasons, it is reaching out. I do not count social media of any type as being a community contribution, as much as because most people on there are not really, they're more doing a play in some sort of rational way of viewing it, than just being real people. It's not your neighbor next door that you can interact with and pick up a lot. They have a barrier that can make it impersonal enough that you don't really get that human connection. But you will get some of the dopamine hits and things like that. You just don't get the actual human connection. That's why I'm more of an advocate doing in person with people. So when it comes to community aspects, where are you with that? Is how long has it been since you've met with your 5 closest friends? Do you have any new friends? Are you doing anything actively outside of the house? And then are you connecting with people and making contacts and, figuring out how you can be a contribution to other people as they can be towards you, make it equal, but you start that lead by offering them help versus asking for help. But there's ways around all that stuff as well. But again, I'm just trying to get a set point for the community aspects and how you can start maturing yourself in that. So cognitive and intelligence, all that is just it's learning. It's exactly what are you doing to teach yourself, especially on a daily basis. Write out in your journal just where are you currently with your knowledge base when it comes to what your goals are. Do you have your goals clearly defined? That kind of thing. That can fall into the cognitive and intelligence aspects of the maturity project, because it's where you're fixating your mind on a goal. And from there, it's write it out. If you don't have your goals, your life goal, big life goal, and then any of the other kind of mid-level or, just along the way, be nice to, or bucket list type things, then get those things started. They just get started writing these. I would say make a page per each, so that later on you can kind of qualify things and then put them into their own things. Because I would rather actually keep 8 different notebooks, and then I'd write a passage in each one, but I wouldn't do that initially. I would not do that. Initially start off with one. It's easier. You don't have to organize as much, and you have fewer excuses not to actually take action here for journaling. So cognitive, it's more of what you know. What are your goals right now? What is it that you know that you need to attend to? If you're being too serious and you need a break so that you can actually enjoy yourself, what are you doing to go out and enjoy yourself? Are you, a theme park person, a cruise person? Do you like to just go out to the nightlife, or whatever it is that makes you feel like you're nurturing yourself and taking care of yourself? So with the goals is to start establishing each one of those so you can take care of you, so that you can see how they all kind of tie into each other. So make each one of the 8 areas a goal in itself, and you can root that back into your cognitive aspects, so that your maturity in the cognitive world, the intelligence aspects of it. So you just journal it in and then go from there. Emotions. What is it that you're willing to take on? Where's your emotional state right now? And what kind of emotional state would be a desirable direction in order to achieve your goals for the day, the week, the month, wherever you are in the process of the next goal? See what your emotional state would be the most beneficial to get there. I'm not one that tells people you need to be happy all the time or optimistic, because unfortunately that can lead to some pretty significant downfalls and denial, and you kind of get caught up in your head about stuff more often than not. And it can create a lot of problems. Same thing as somebody who's pessimistic all the time. Just be okay with fluctuating inside of those different perspectives or worldviews. It's their bias perspectives. What do you do with those and how do you work with it? I'm more of like utilize whatever's the most ideal particular emotional state that you can control to get you to that next level. If you feel, like lacking motivation, what motivates you? Me personally, I do like to listen to motivational videos, things like that. I'll set something up on YouTube where they got compilations of different things from movies or statements that are popular or whatever, and that they just put it together with the right kind of music. And it does help me with my motivation challenges whenever I'm feeling low on motivation. If I feel that I'm low on structure in order to fulfill on my goal, then I've got to learn what the structures are that I'm missing when it comes to that. And where can I go learn that is typically find, there's a lot of information you can find on YouTube, on Rumble, places like that. But you could also find things on, libraries, books. You can talk to your friends and see how they've gone through their challenges. So a lot of ways that you can start qualifying, but I would journal it so that you can get the emotional states that you're really wanting to occupy. So if you feel sad regularly, what are things that make you feel happy? What are the things are triggering you to feel sad? Again, mind you, everybody, I'm not doing therapy of any type. This is the maturity project itself. It is not intended for therapy or counseling. You guys go see those people for that. This is the perspective view on how to, look at life from a mature perspective and how to work with developing yourself in each one of those areas. So just for clarity, you need a therapist, go to a damn therapist. All right. So emotions, also just be aware of where are you in the process of riding the bike. If you're in the hypothetical, you've watched somebody else do it, you think it looks cool, you'd probably do it yourself, whatever. That's not the same as doing it yourself. You will find out. You just have to get into it. So where are you sitting if you need to continue to look at the emotional area as far as maturity goes, because you haven't found a good one to hold on to or a good one to set as a goal for that day? Because your goal is to put yourself in an emotional state enough to realize what that is for you. If it is that you feel like you don't like getting hijacked often for being emotional, what is it that typically hijacks you, and how can you create the right kind of environment that you can trigger that particular emotional reaction so that you can not only observe it now from a different perspective, but you can start looking on how to create ways of overcoming it. It's the conflict models, and how do you deal with conflict or challenges, and what model do you work by? 3 different models: avoidance, survival, and thriving. So the first one, avoidance; second one is surviving through it; and third one is thriving. You have to figure out where you are in order to move up to the one that'll be the most long-term effective, which is thriving. Thriving requires that you have a way of looking at what kind of behaviors, traits, and or thinking models did you use that got you into the situation, not just the event itself that most people blame. That's in the survival mode. It's not me, man. This crap happens to me and I overcome it. So you have to pick those things for yourself. But in the emotional aspects, you can categorize some things there and how you work with it. Finance, simple one here. It's actually surprising, but there's plenty of people that don't even keep ledgers. They let the online apps and things like that tell them where their expenses are and things. It's actually really helpful and keeps a more of a responsible hold over your financial well-being and your financial maturity to keep a ledger. Write out every single penny, everything. It does something to you specifically that will continue to improve your financial maturity. So ledger keeping is an incredibly simple one. It's probably the simplest one out of all of these for me to give you as a starting point. Physical body is also pretty easy, but I don't know necessarily where you're at. For most people, surprisingly enough, very few people keep ledgers. Very few people will do handwritten ledgers of their own. And I know most people are like, why would I? I have an account. I have the app for my bank account, whatever. I have these other apps and do this. I promise you, keep a ledger, write it down, make that a thing you do on a regular basis. Even if you're already doing it in your computer system and it's working, that does not mean you won't have an epiphany when you start journaling it. You start keeping your ledger. It can access something different that I'm not going to know what it is for you to access right now, but you can still access it. You just have to do something with it in order for that to happen. So, okay. Now, business, it's where are you in business? Are you at an entry level position, which is what there could be a fair decent amount of people that watch this show that may be in that, and that's perfectly fine. It's if you're at entry level, what's the next level up, and what is your goal? Do you want to go into management? Do you want to observe the business model so that you may go into consulting or entrepreneurship? There's a lot of things you can do at that entry level. It's not just how do I want to make more money. If you want to make more money, that's fine. But I will tell you that you'll find yourself in less than satisfying stages of life whenever you're focused solely on money. Now, it's not a bad thing necessarily. It's just life will happen a certain way, and you do have more control over how life happens than you believe that you do. Most of us, because we don't focus on these 8 areas of maturity, we think that we're just, life is just a bunch of happenings, and it's just, it's just when is your time up for that particular event to happen? Well, you could say that and eat completely recklessly and do nothing to take care of yourself, drink all the time, smoke cigarettes all the time, whatever it is, all kinds of health diminishing activities because you're ignorant to what it takes to keep the physical body healthy. And before you know it, you'll run into a disease or condition that could end up taking your life or causing you to be less than functional by comparison to where you were before. And if you were to take the opposite of that, and say, well, this person made all of the right decisions based off of a continuous growth of knowledge. And where are they? Are they overweight, or do they have these conditions, those kind of things? For the lifestyle conditions, you have a lot of things that you can do to prevent it, like type 2 diabetes. There's a lot of things you can do to prevent that. because that's actually a lifestyle, not a type 1, which means the pancreas does not create insulin or doesn't do an adequate enough job with insulin. So that's typical of birth, but it can happen throughout life where it just stops. Type 2 is a different type of diabetes, and it's just you're not able to keep up with the glucose being stored as glycogen in the body because you're saturated to a large extent. You can't force more into the same spot because it's saturated, that kind of thing. So, but that's a lifestyle condition. You can actually do a lot about that, but you have to unlock the thing. There's all kinds of different body types. Are you stuck in somebody else's model that does work? But it works for them, not for you. And you keep trying that model. Well, when it comes to weight loss, that's my area of expertise, or at least where I got a lot of expertise in my adult life was the fitness industry. And I can tell you now that it's not everything works for everybody, but things work that are across the board for everybody, but there are different variables along the way. So water will always help you unless there's a medical condition not to actually consume more water. But that's between you and your doctor, and it's very uncommon by comparison to the need for water in the body. Some people, it's just, they just don't drink enough. And that's a common one between all of these different diets that are out there, different nutritional regimens to help people lose the weight or get to the ideal weight. So when it comes to the fitness stuff, physical body and maturity, you have a lot to do with that. You have a lot to do with every single one of these areas. But if you're unaware of them, first off, it's a blind spot to you, and you're just going to think life's happening to you. I have no friends. Okay, well, what did you do to make friends? What did you do to nurture and to maintain those friends? There's a lot of stuff that's in that. But if you feel that you don't even realize that or if you don't realize that you have community maturity and you do nothing to nurture and develop that area, yeah, you're probably going to say you have no friends. It's not likely just because people have always betrayed you. You're just not out there to even be friends with, or when you are, you're not very mature in the process of interacting with people. The intelligence and things. How many times have you heard people sit back and say, I don't know, I'm just not smart. There's a lot that you can do to become smarter, but most people are not inspired to learn. They're not doing something that actually helps proactively move them in the right direction. So emotions, I don't ever want to deal with that again. That challenge, that girl, that problem, this relationship. I got burnt real bad last time I got into a business endeavor, or I invested money and it was lost. All these things all fall into, actually, there's an emotional value that holds it in place, that gets that fear value that they try to avoid. So that's in the finance aspects of it. In business, the same thing. You know what? I don't want to do that job ever again. These people suck. So, yeah. Yeah. Looking across it all, it's like sexuality, the same thing. If you're not exploring and developing yourself there, you're going to find that you're feeling, kind of stale on your own or whatever, and you're not really exploring enough to actually stay, continuously engaged. And it doesn't just mean sex, but it does help, because that's part of what we use to create charisma, things like that too. And purpose, your purpose, man. What are you here for? What do you want to do with your life? How do you want to impact reality? What is that dash between the date you were born and the date that you die on your tombstone? What does it mean? What's your story? I don't know anybody that doesn't want to have some kind of purpose in life, but most people have not done anything to, actually make the declaration. So that's why I'm such an advocate about doing the journals. Write it down every morning, and then you go through your day. Now, when you do write it down in the morning, you don't have to write down a big document of any type. What are you going to address today that is associated with this area of maturity to move you into becoming a little bit more developed? That's it. You do not need to write down some significant, paragraph or anything. Write it if you like, but then you're going to write down how you are going to execute on each one of these areas. That's it. Just keep going through the process like that. Each area, what are you going to attribute to and or develop in, and then move to the next thing. Just write it down and keep those things written down and how you're going to execute on them. And then you go through the day, you do what you're going to do in order to execute on those things. And at the end of the day, you recap. That's it. You just recap your day. You sit down before, you get done, you get everything done to go to bed. If that's what you want to do, you set up the schedule. And if you like to review before you brush your teeth and get ready and get into bed, that's fine. Just don't forget to do this. What you do is you recap. Did you do what you needed to in order to take care of this area? Did you act on what your goals were for that day? That's it. Write it down. Did you do it? And then from there, you can state what you did or did not do there. Okay. And then why? What happened? Simple. You're not interrogating yourself. You're just looking for what blocked you, because you'll start to notice that those things become more and more common. And then they become whatever the justification is. Now you start to see where you've locked yourself in place, and it's hard to get out of that. So you can break free of all of these things. You just have to, one, be aware that you're capable of it. Then two is start to look at exactly what they mean and how do you develop in them. Again, I will send you the starter documents if you send me over an email at yourmaturityproject.com. It's your maturity project. I'm sorry, yourmaturityproject@gmail.com. Send me an email. I'll send you the document back, and then you can do something with it from there. It's just the basics to be able to use this on a regular basis to guide you through your journaling that's necessary in order to become more successful. So great exercise. I definitely suggest doing it. All right. That's what I've got for today. I am your host, Chad Everett Broshears. This is the Maturity Project. Thank you for joining me. I'm very pleased to have as many people join in today as I have, and looking forward to more growth and some more feedback from you guys, and the what direction we can go in next, and what exactly is necessary or desirable to do next, as far as like what topics to cover. Right in the comment section here, comment on the video that just says what you got out of it and what you appreciate and what you're going to put into action. If you'd like to actually do that, I do appreciate it. It does help share with the community. Even if they don't comment, they're reading it, and it does help other people. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Go to YouTube, and it is the Maturity Project. Actually, it's Chad Broshears, and it's the Maturity Project. You can find me on that. You see my smiling face with a red background. You're probably, if you're on YouTube right now, watch this video, this is the channel. So you can just subscribe to that, hit the bell notification so you know when they go live, and we can set up a regimen so that you know exactly the steps that you can take on a daily basis that can help you make progress in each one of these areas. So change your life for more of a fulfilling life, and that's what the Maturity Project's all about. The path to hell is paved with good intentions. Let's not make our own paths to hell anymore, and this is one way to avoid that. So, all right, share this video with people in your life that you know can be, that will take a great deal of benefit out of it, that you want to start a conversation that's meaningful. So, and other than that, let's like the video, move it along the algorithm, and I'll catch you on the next one. We'll see you. Let's get up to some stuff. See ya.